What's happening, guys? This is James Blonde from MMOHut.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending April 22nd, 2013. And now there's not a whole lot of big news this week, but starting out, PlanetSide 2 fans can now stay connected and strategize at all times, as Sony Online Entertainment last week released the PlanetSide 2 mobile Uplink app for iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. And with this free app, players can receive near real-time updates to their character stats, leaderboards, and general updates from the battlefield, as well as voice chat with their outfit from the game. And on top of that, the app connects players to all of the game's community sites and social channels, namely YouTube, Twitch streams, and forums. So if you're big on keeping up with the persistent battles in PlanetSide 2, check the link in the description below to download the app and keep up to date. Last week on April 17th, Netmarble added its first female characters to District 187 in the Femme Fatale update. Femme Fatale introduces Amelia, a rebel that is turned to the life of crime, as well as Bridget, a former professional cheerleader now fighting to restore peace and order by joining the SWAT team? Yeah, because that's what pro cheerleaders do after their prime. Everybody knows that. Anyways, these two characters provide players with a 30% increase to experience and a 15% gold boost, along with a 30% faster reload time over the other characters. The update also adds the new Metro map and 5 new guns, including the PSDXR Gold fully modded sniper rifle. Sounds pretty fancy. And the heart grenade that can only be equipped by the new female characters, letting players show their love in a fatal new way. Next up on April 18th, Hi-Rez Studios released a new update for Smite that introduces Naja, a new Chinese god to the pack, whose passive ability, called Child of the Lotus, is really unique. When killed, Naja's spirit is reborn from a lotus and heals nearby enemies and increases their protections. Finally, a good reason for teammates to feed enemies. Naja's passive also allows his basic attack to utilize a 4-swing chain, with the final attack in the chain dealing damage to all the enemies in front of him. Yeah, talk about an OP passive. His skills are pretty impressive as well, most of which deal physical AoE damage, including his ultimate, which has him dashing towards you, and if he hits you, he knocks you into the air, doing a combo that you have to interact with to maximize the damage. Then he smashes you back down to earth, dealing damage to enemies around the impact. Then he flips back to his long-distance starting location. That's pretty epic. He literally gets in and gets out. It's almost like he took all the cool abilities they didn't give Apollo. But on top of adding Naja and a few other things, Hi-Rez introduced Twitch integration, allowing players to stream matches directly from the game without additional software. Also on the 18th, Red 5 Studios announced that Firefall will enter open beta on July 9th. Finally. Now, seeing that Red 5 is all about the community-driven development process, similar to that of PlanetSide 2, the open beta isn't a traditional marketing beta, but more of an opportunity to include more players in on making the game better. New updates to the game will continue to roll out leading up to the open beta, with major milestones planned for May and July. But for now, the final stages of the closed beta will get upcoming content added, including city power levels, where players receive new bonuses and rewards in the open world by increasing the power level of the major cities through local missions and encounters. New ways of pushing back the melding and changes to crafting and progression will be introduced, along with the Chosen instances that have players fortifying the open world, taking the fight to the Chosen, and huge new battle instances. Some of which you can see here playing in the video in the background. Now, from what I've learned about Firefall at PAX East, they've literally made the game 3 times already, changing, balancing, and shaping it to meet the community's feedback and expectations. So if it's been a little while since you've checked out Firefall, look forward to a completely changed game when you go back and play it again. Well, as expected, we were right last week about Arctic Combat's new game mode, Invasion, and guess what? What looks like the Zerg have landed. The new game mode has 4 players working together to fight off swarms of Zerg-looking aliens, featuring several different levels of difficulty and points for victory towards new rewards. The new defense mode features 15 species of aliens, including a terrifying mid-boss and extremely challenging final boss. Throughout the match, aliens charge players in waves as they protect their nuclear reactor with their lives, defending from both ground and air. The update also features a new map, new weapons, including a shotgun, skill upgrades, and a nice tweak to the AI system. Next up, ZQ Game transitioned its browser-based fantasy MMORPG The Lost Titans into open beta, introducing a pretty good chunk of new content for players to explore, including new mounts, Zeus's Fury Battleground that has players battling huge new bosses and other players at the same time, along with Punishers, a new group of high-level monsters that act as mini-bosses surrounding a raid boss. All this is ready for players to try out now. Well, like I said, not a whole lot of news last week, but there are a few more interesting announcements for upcoming games, such as last week, Killer Combo announced its success with Elsword getting through the Steam Greenlight process, and the game will soon be available via Steam. As you know, Greenlight lets players choose the games they want most, so it's nice to see Elsword as one of those games. I bet it had to do with their trailers being so badass that got them through. I don't know, maybe. But since the guys at Killer Combo are celebrating about the success, expect to see some of that celebration returned to the players as a result. In similar news, City of Steam was just nominated for Steam Greenlight. After launching their campaign on December 12, 2012, the small team of developers have been pushing for votes and ended up with 48,757 notions to nominate. They even got a few naysayers to change their mind with strategic PR techniques like you see here. And with the celebration, some of the new features they promised like jetpacks and new pets are already going to be in the game for the next beta, which will have dates to be announced here pretty soon. As some of you might know, Lost Saga is in open beta for the second time after being republished by We Made Entertainment. With the transition to open beta, the game is featuring a ton of new content including 15 new heroes, 2 new modes, and several special events. If you've played the game in the past and stopped, this game is supposedly completely revamped after changing publishers, so now that it's in open beta, it's definitely time to check it out again. But anyway guys, that's about it for the short week of MMO news and announcement. If there's any other MMO news or announcements that wasn't covered here, feel free to mention in the comments below to share with everyone else. Other than that, if you're looking for more news, head over to the MMOHut.com/news and be sure to keep up with our giveaways at MMOHut.com/giveaways. Until next time guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.